In this chapter, we're gonna talk about heat shrink and why it is important. So this will also be a little bit of a mix of the butt connector, snapping stuff together, checking tension. This stuff is very important because you don't want to leave any exposed wires. You're sealing everything off, you're keeping your connections nice and clean and tight, and you wanna make sure none of your wires are gonna fall apart as well. So we're gonna walk through. I know we're gonna be using different colors, red and the black, but we're doing that so that way you guys can really see. But I like to match the heat shrink with the type of wire. So I use red or white for positive and then black for negative. So, but again, these are gonna be different colors so you guys can see what's going on. So we have our piece of wire. I go through, we're gonna strip this guy out. So now you have our exposed wire. Now we're gonna wanna do this on the other side of our wire as well. So that way, we have a place to install our butt connector. So, have our two little pieces of wire, and now we're gonna wanna connect them together. So we'll take the first one, slide your butt connector over, and you see how there's not a ton of wire hanging out there? That's good. You don't want too much wire hanging out. You want to give this thing, like I said, I like to get to the outside a little bit more. It's a little bit easier to squeeze, and I feel like that makes a better connection. So give it a good squeeze. And then you want to give the guy a good pull. Again, make sure your heat shrink goes on before finishing your connection up. So you're going to slide that guy together. And same thing, do this on the same side. Make sure your wire's fully seated. Give it a nice, hearty squeeze. And we can see our nice little indentations, and you can see the wire is squished, and then you're gonna wanna really try to pull it apart. You shouldn't be able to. Like that's a great connection. You're never gonna have a problem with something like that. Now, we have to insulate our connection. We don't want a negative ever touching a positive, or a positive ever touching a negative, or anything else in your ground, in the body of the van, because this whole thing, all the metal in your van is a ground. So, what you wanna do is slide this guy over, and it's important to make sure everything is covered up. So, like I said before, you can use a lighter or a torch. I prefer using a heat gun because you have far, lower possibility of catching your van on fire. Vans and fire, they're not great partners, so try not to catch your van on fire. Heat gun works really, really well. Just turn it on. It might take a little bit longer than a lighter or a torch, but once it starts to go, once you start using it a little bit, just give it a spin as you heat shrink the thing. But after a little while, you can see it is fully sealed. But if you don't have access to a heat gun, a lighter does work. Just be super, super careful. Don't light your van on fire. I like to use the sealing heat shrink. It costs a little bit more, but not much. But you can see there's like a glue in there. And after you heat it up and it shrinks, that glue melts and it's sealed. So you can see the seal on both sides of this wire. So this connection that we just made is completely and totally sealed. It's waterproof. Like that's awesome. You're never gonna have problems with that. And again, it is stuck together. You've essentially taken this wire and you've extended it and completely sealed the thing off, but that's a good connection and that's what you're looking for. So take your time on these things. Make sure you're doing them right, because I can't tell you how many times someone has brought a van into our shop and being like, I don't know what's going on, I can't figure it out. And it's just like a bad connection, or it's a bad, wire, and then you gotta hunt the thing down. And if you don't know where your connections are, or this, that, and the other, it makes the troubleshooting process that much more difficult. So get this part done right, and you'll be much happier that you did.